country, and sometimes they're positive and sometimes they're negative. So the sequence of events that goes on is never ending. They're simultaneous in the sense that the Arab countries are trying to do something that no other country in the world, I think, has ever tried to do. And it's not just, we're not one country, we're 22 countries. And every single Arab country, to one degree or another, is experiencing some form of citizen activism, some kind of expression of citizen demands, and some kind of uprising. In some cases, it's just people tweeting and sending stuff out on their cell phone messages. But they're simultaneously trying to achieve what in Western countries, and your country here in the United States, was achieved over a period of about 200 years. In other words, if you take a country like Egypt, what we're experiencing at the same time is the equivalent of the Revolutionary War. First of all, the uprising, the citizen revolt for independence, then the war for independence, the Revolutionary War, then the first constitution that was created, and then that fell apart, and then in 1789 you came back and you tried it again, and you had a better constitution, which then you needed to keep amending over many years. And then you had, 80 years later, a civil war, and then another 60 years after that you gave women the vote, and then another 20 years after that, in 1965, you gave black people the vote. So it took you 200 years almost to actually implement a democratic process, a system of democracy that actually gave all its citizens equal democratic rights. When the great American Revolution created the United States of America as a bellwether of freedom and democracy around the world, it was a democracy in which white men who owned land and slaves had rights, but virtually nobody else had any rights. And you didn't tackle the issue of slavery and women's rights and minority rights and immigrant rights and all the other things that you tackled. You didn't tackle them in 1776 or 1789. You decided to leave them for later because they were too hard. And the difference is, in the Arab world, people don't want to leave anything for later. They want to solve all of these big issues right now. So this is why it's so complex to simultaneously define your constitution, shape the nature of your government system. Do you have a presidential system, a parliamentary system? Address the issue of minority rights, address the issue of religious pluralism, address the issue of the civilian-military balance, address the issue of the role of women in society, address the issue of relations between the central government and the regional provinces. All of these things at the same time. Nobody in the world has ever tried to do such an audacious thing except the Arab citizens today.